Well, it's a good evening here in Radio FM 88 Australia in the studios in Brisbane. And Thursday's our simulcast show. The co-host is in the UK. And if you want to jump onto the YouTube channel, Radio FM 88 Australia, or Andrena Forrest, or you can go onto X and look up Radio FM 88 Australia, or on this FM 88 Facebook page. But without further ado, we've got our guest is from Sweden tonight, or tonight in Australia, and in the morning in UK and Europe. So without further ado, I hand it over to Andrena.
Thank you, Jeffrey, and good morning, everybody, and welcome to my lovely guest today, who is Nicola Light. And today is the 17th of July, and I'm really looking forward to Nicola sharing, because we've met a few times in Glastonbury, and I know our first meeting was up on the tour with Shirley, my sister, and I know there were a few others, and I think, I can't remember, it's a couple of years ago now, lost track of time. But anyway, so we've had a lovely connection, and I really love what you do, and your light language and all sorts of things. So you're going to be sharing your story today, how it started. You're going to be sharing your wisdom. And I know you're Reiki Master, healer, mentor. But what I liked is that you say you're a Galactic Shaman. So I thought that could be interesting for your sharing. You run light language courses, and I love when I watch you, because you must have the most nimblest fingers I've ever seen, because your fingers are doing all this. Anyway, so welcome, Nicola, and thank you for being our guest this week.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm really absolutely privileged to be here, and I just love being of service. And if there's something that somebody can take from this interview, then so be it. So yeah, I'm willing and able to speak my truth. So thank you.
No, that's wonderful, and I think, excuse me, for people who don't know, this is my landlady's barn, so it's happy birthday, Deborah, because it's her birthday today, and because of all the hiccups with technology that I have been having, the easiest way is to come up here, and it's quite warm in here. But anyway, without further ado, let's start at the very beginning, because you were born in England. So would you like to share? Because I know you've had a near-death experience. I know there's so many different avenues to your story. So let's start at the very beginning. What country were you born in the UK?
So yeah, I was born about an hour away from London. So it was in a Medway Towns in Kent, in England, to a family that had 3 daughters. So I was the middle daughter. And it was sort of a working class background, mother, father worked hard and in a tiny little house in that space. So never felt that I really sort of fitted in, and sort of like went to local schools and was really quiet and didn't say anything to anybody for many, many years, and only really sort of had sort of a couple of connections with people. So I really didn't feel that I sort of fitted in with the family unit, to be honest with you. And I looked physically different as well. I'm sort of quite small and a little bit sort of skinnier, very, very tiny when I was really little, and I'm still sort of quite slight in my stature. And at the age of 5, the story that was told to me before the age of 5, I didn't really remember too much of my younger childhood. We sort of attended apparently a beach, and in sort of Kent, and we've just been talking there, Jeffrey, about sort of like all the seaside towns, the coastal towns, and in those sort of towns you have these sort of the coast would go sort of down into dips, and then you could have this sort of like wooden, I don't know what they're called, it's like a wooden thing that sort of separated the beach up into different sort of areas. And when I was sort of jumping, I jumped from one side to another, which was shallow water, but then apparently I jumped the other side, and then it was a lot deeper. And I found myself sort of waking up on the beach, having been resuscitated, sort of laying there with all these people around me. And the story sort of was basically that this young guy picked me up from the water and then resuscitated me. And it's sort of quite interesting really, stay small, didn't like the dark, wanting to.
You're sorry, Nicola, but for me, the sound, your sound, you're disappearing. Is that the same for you, Jeffrey?
Yeah. I was just playing around to see if I can increase it for her.
Oh, okay. Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Right.
I'll turn that up. I'll turn it up a little bit. Is that better?
Yeah, that's better. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So yeah. So
sorry.
Going. No. I was sort of looking at myself and I saw your hands moving around. Anyway. So yeah. So to cut long story short, really, it enabled me to have an understanding now that I've awoken to the reality of almost like a perception of reality of walkings or downloading information consciousness within our perception of reality. So we see ourselves only as our body and our mind. But when you tap into different realities, which gives me an understanding of it from my mind, from that experience at the age of 5, and going more into that spirit realm, then the connection, the more that I sort of deepen into my own healing journey, then I can then start to tap into those different realities. So from that experience, I can sort of pull from that, sort of who is Nicola? Because that's a question that we all ask, isn't it? Who am I? What am I here for? And through that experience of NDE, it's given me a little bit of information and inner knowing that something went on at that point that brought my soul in at a different level of understanding. The starseed, we could call it, an interjection of my higher level of consciousness from birth,
Yeah, so where your sound went funny, so you said that a guy pulled you out of the water. So can you just backtrack a little bit? Because I don't know if anybody else, but I didn't hear properly what had happened. So.
Okay, yeah, so I was resuscitated. So my mother told me the story of that I was resuscitated. And from my conscious memory, I remember just opening my eyes and just seeing lots of people around me. So the that sort of understanding of really sort of like who was I only really started at the age of 5. So not coming in at birth, I came in as a soul level of understanding at the age of 5 rather than birthing into the physical body. So because I had no memory prior to 5, which was sort of quite interesting, really. And then I just sort of went through my everyday life from that point. Really, again, didn't feel, I wasn't fitting in at school. Really didn't understand language at all either. Couldn't speak properly. My mum used to say that it's like only my sister could understand what it was that I wanted to say. Even sort of writing and reading was really difficult for me. I just didn't really understand. And now when you look at light codes, if you can write light codes, and you're sort of saying about my hand movements, is that light language is a format of like little scribbles and sort of mudras that we can sort of make. And it's interesting that when a teacher, I remember sort of later on in my life as a teacher said, oh, write this down, write down what you wanted to say. And I just scribbled. It must have been light language codes. I thought it was a masterpiece. But she
probably was.
Yeah. But I just was like, wow, this is really good. I was probably at about 6 or 7 or something. Do you know at the beginning when you should be doing your ABCs? I had no clue. So I shut it down. I shut the whole thing down because it just didn't serve me at the time. And then I sort of went through a family trauma around about the age of 42-ish. Which sort of like, the dark night of the soul, it just goes, doesn't it? Do you know, when you just go like plummet and you're just like, why am I here? And I really want to be here. And it was really, really deep. We'd moved to America for a year and I was there and I was like, I don't want to be here. And I was very, very suicidal. And then we came back to England and then I sort of got into meditation really deeply, went to a little spiritualist church in Maidstone. and they were adorable. They were really very lovely. And then I started going once a month. And then I thought to myself, why am I just going once a month? I could do this at home. So I did. And then I started meditating for, I don't know, like 4 hours in a go.
Wow.
It was crazy. I just sit there forever, and I'll just push people away. I go, don't come near me, I am meditating. And it was quite funny, really. I just, any little bit of noise, I just wanted to focus. And then I started seeing things, or visions come in. Then I was drawn to doing Reiki. So then I took Reiki courses, and then things really started opening up from there, where my hands started to sign, as you were sort of speaking of there. And then about 6 weeks after my hands starting to move, after doing some energy healing through my hands, I started speaking light codes as well, which I didn't understand any of it. And then through the journey of keep coding, keep talking, keep coding myself with light codes, I started to peel back the layers of remembering who I was. And the sort of multidimensionality came in, you know, the different levels of consciousness started to come in. Like, as we were sort of speaking before, Jeffrey, is that, you know, that we start to sort of align to different levels of consciousness vibration. You know, the fae was coming in, you know, the dragons were starting to come in. You're sort of like, hang on a minute, what's all this then? You think you're going completely insane and bonkers. Angels stood beside me and all of this, and galactic forces, and like, what? You know, and things that you think it's just imaginary, things that you'd see on sci-fi films and things like that. And then opening up to that energy and that awareness really sort of started me well and truly on my journey. And then I find myself to be here with you, speaking to you in this now moment. Yeah. So it's been a roller coaster of emotions, but
I bet. Yeah, because I mean, you know, to be doing light, you know, there's a lot of people don't understand what light language is, or, you know, there's a lot of people out there doing light language and and making all sorts of different sounds.
Yeah.
So did you have anybody to help guide you, or is this purely from going within that you've got all the information that you needed?
Yeah, purely me. I mean, obviously outside of myself was meditation and Reiki, you know, sort of having those attunements, but everything from that point, once I started coding, everything of my inner, I call it my inner light wisdom, came in as a result of clearing myself with my codes. It's been such a wonderful, wonderful journey, because everything is through my own experience. So everything that I know and which I speak of and what I present is the unfoldment of everything that I am, internally, an awakening within me, remembering within me. That's that inner light wisdom, rather than reading a book. You know, I've got books behind me, but they're only there for display. And very rarely sort of listening to a podcast or YouTube, or if something's presented for me to see, it's more of a clarification of information that's come forward, rather than seeking information. So I'm an experiencer, which you know, different people have different ways of remembering, and it's beautiful. Whatever way that we work is the way that we work, but the way that I work is purely by coding myself, either clearing code, activation code, or remembrance codes. So they come in different sort of levels of understanding. So and then with the remembrance codes, which I speak about a lot on my YouTube channel, is that I would code some information that would spark a remembrance in somebody that is receiving the code, and then they can start to open up in their own remembrance journey. And then I interpret it into English, and then I have sort of quite shocking information that comes through. I'm like, oh, so I work from an ego mind structure of looking at all of this information coming through, as well as working from a higher perspective. So I try and sort of meet and balance in the middle, because sometimes some of the information comes through, I'm like, oh, now that's interesting, isn't it? I didn't know that. So it's almost like I work internally sort of from ego, and then higher self comes in with the knowledge, and it's quite an interesting perception of the way that I work, which is, I'm authentic within it. So,
well, you certainly walk your talk, don't you? And like you say, it's all about going within to get the information, and not asking this one and that one, and like we've got it all within, and it's retuning yourself to be in that space and to get the information.
Yeah.
So what did your family, when you when you could start to speak in the light languages coming through, how did they take that then? Because it's like, it's a bit different to anything else, isn't it? So how do you explain that?
Oh my gosh. I mean, considering that, sort of back in the day, Nicola was the nurturing mother that was well taken care of. I had a very abundant lifestyle after sort of coming from this, the council houses in Maidstone to, sort of owning a really very big farmhouse with land in a different sort of slightly different location. So I had absolutely everything. Everything was provided for. And when I started on this awakening journey, Nicola started to shift into becoming more inward in her reflection, less nurturing. So obviously the family, I have two children, so I have a girl and a boy, and my ex-husband didn't understand, bless him. He thought I was going completely crazy. He did actually try to section me. And when I decided to leave, which was just before COVID, actually, it was an interesting story, actually. I think it'd be interesting to sort of share. It was actually a lady from New Zealand, so near to Australia. And she came over on a visit to see her boyfriend's family, and she booked in 3 sessions with me. And on the 3rd session, she said, she just went into this deep sort of meditative state and started speaking this strange voice, and said, "Why are you still here, Nicola?" She didn't know anything of my circumstance, but through her came this information from this being that said, "You've got to get out of here. Why are you still here? Why are you still dealing with, the criticism, all of that sort of goes with it? You've got to go." And this was just before Christmas, and she was quite astounded with this awakening within her. And it was just before Christmas I decided to say, this isn't working, after a 32-year-old marriage.
Wow.
32 years. Obviously we knew that there was something going on, that it wasn't going to sort of work out. And I did try to sort of leave before, bless him. I did try because I thought if I could assist him with his own healing journey, to trying to understand what it is that I do, then maybe we could sort of like really sort of make this work. But he just that wasn't his soul path and alignment. And so we went our separate ways. But it was just before COVID hit. And here in England, it was lockdown galore. So I found myself a little place to stay. And then I went deeply, deeply, deeply into hermit mode. Massive healing journey. Crying, clearing my energy out of my physical body, my emotional states. My coding was coming in big time. I was doing my YouTube channel. The only person that I was speaking to was myself via my YouTube channel. Honestly,
yeah,
if you look at my beginnings, it sort of started firstly when I was back at the home, and then I started really deepening into really sort of getting out there, sort of being authentic. I was sort of told, you're going to do a YouTube channel. I was like, am I? I can't even take a selfie without criticizing the way that I looked. And then I started it, and I was like, oh no, this is really therapeutic. And the codes started coming through stronger. I started to remember. My wisdom started to come in, and I was like, whoa, this is amazing. And then I sort of started to shift, and you'll see all of the different locations that I found, all my different backdrops on my YouTube channel as I journey from one position to another. And I was very sort of hopping from one place and sofa surfing and, you know, sort of navigating around the world where I needed to be. And so many wonderful people have taken me in, you know, like Shirley in Glastonbury, Shirley and Ken, you know, if I'm in England and I didn't have anywhere to stay, they would like, come stay with me, you know. And it was that sort of moment, the shifting from having everything into deconstructing everything, and I could fit everything into my car. And it's just, you know, the tears of letting go of the beautiful purple dress that I used to wear at balls, you know, and the high heel shoes. I was like, I don't want to let it go, but it's got to go. It's not who I am anymore.
Yeah.
And that, if anyone's sort of listening that's at that stage, don't worry about it. It's okay to deconstruct. It's okay to shift from one position of comfortability over to this place of like, I'm just going to free fall and just trust the universe. You know, it is a must. We must do that to allow ourselves to go, okay, go here. Why do I have to go here? Just go, Nicola, just go. Like, okay. So then you go there, and then you find beautiful people like yourself, Andrea, you know, and it's like, you know, meeting at the top of the tour. And this is how we make our connections. This is how we are guided through our journey rather than thinking through our journey. It just shows up. The synchronicities come in. We just align and allow and accept and receive rather than, oh, I think I've got to do this, I've got to do that, you know, the doing of the mind and the body. It's not. It's just pure surrender, isn't it?
Hey, just changing the subject. This is me, a male talking here. Yeah. If you just to turn your head to your left shoulder, just no, go the other way. Yeah, just go a bit further, go further around. No, your head, just move your head around. And I tell you the reason, because one part of your conversation, you just shape-shifted over to that side. And I would swear I was looking at Orlando Bloom from Lord of the Rings when he stepped up as the elves, you know, and they're really tall beings, weren't they? Very slim, very slender. Yeah, exactly right. You just took me on a magical trip straight down there looking at that, because he came out of that particular movie. I think, God, man, those elves look really, really cool. Yeah.
Do you know what? Actually, I have a massive connection with the Fae. And within this space, and I've done podcasts before with people where we've literally had fairies come in at the camera. Literally, the last one that was on my Facebook page was with a beautiful lady in America, Laurie. And there was so it comes from this portal over in the corner here, because this is in a basement. And so there's lots of rock here in Sweden. And lots of trees, and the fairy realm just come through left, right, and centre for me. So little pixie like this is very relevant, actually.
So, were your children inherited any of your gifts?
Interesting. Without getting too personal within it.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah. So my son is an angelic through and through. I saw him with wings upon his back, and he is pure light. He's very like me. He's very tall, slender, and he is a beautiful soul. He's very much like me. So he's really beautiful, and my daughter is very much like my ex, and she's very feisty, and she's had a lot of mental health issues, bless her. But her healing capabilities, once she moves through this healing journey of her mental health and the identification of it, she will be so profoundly amazing. Honestly, I did some healing with her when I used to be at home, and I had a healing room, and I was doing some healing on her, and she went, "Mummy," and she just stopped me from healing. She put her hand on my tummy, and a shock of energy came out of her. And I was like, oh, girl, you are powerful. She just showed me like that. Like, you know, like, oh, you think that you're amazing,
Yeah.
don't you? Watch this. You know, it was that sort of, but her ego is very, very strong. So it's suppressing the rise of her gifts at the moment.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm trying to work with her, but it's whether somebody would actually listen to receive it or ready to receive. You know, we can sort of speak about all of this. It's like I used to say to my children, I've got all the answers, I've got all the keys to the doors, I can unlock all of this for you, I know exactly how to do it, I'm doing it, you've got to meditate, you've got to do this, you've got to do that, and they'd sit there and go like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so they completely thought I was completely insane. Just leave her to it. You know, and it's that pokiness of you're mad, you're silly, you're making this all up. Triggered me. But it was a good trigger in the end. Looking back on it, you can look at that and say, well, actually, this is a gift that they gave me. You know, my ex gifted me with all of the ups and downs of it all. And, you know, and I don't regret any of the journey of it or any decision that I made. And from an ego position, of course, you know, the things that have been said, like any of us, you know, through deconstruction of relationship. But now that I've moved through it, now that they are happy with me and see me, which is great, they understand me now and what it is that I do. So they're accepting me now, which is really good as a mother, you know, from an ego,
definitely,
isn't it? You know, so that's a bit that piece within me that they see me from that perspective. Soothes the heart from a mother position.
Yeah, I hear you. I totally understand what you're saying. Yeah, amazing. So, yeah, because obviously, like many of us have come in healers and all sorts of different things, and our family think we're off the planet and what have you. But I think nowadays it's just being true in who you are and what you've come to do, regardless of what other people say. It's like, well, you know, whatever. This is who I am, and this, you know, this is what I've come to do or who I've come to be, regardless of, you know, and different people saying different things about you. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter, does it?
No. In the beginning, you sort of like, you know, it's really hurtful because you're breaking through those barriers of fear. You know, as we start to sort of waken into our healing, through our healing journey of remembrance, is that, you know, we've got to let go of that old persona identification of ourselves, you know, the learnt behavior, the programming, and that this isn't acceptable, that you're starting to make these strange noises and wiggling your fingers all over the place. You know, it's like, who is this person? You know, and you get the odd comments on your little reels that you do, you know, and you go like, you know, it's that wonderful saying, it says, forgive them for they do not know.
Exactly.
And the more that we can be authentic with that sort of mindset, the easier it is that you don't feel that you're being judged. Because if you feel you're being judged, it's because you're judging yourself.
Yeah.
Being judged. If you know who you are and you know your authentic self, then it's almost like water going off a duck's back. You just literally just allow it to move through you. You don't hold on to that. So if anyone's starting to sort of sign their code or starting to speak this sort of strange sort of language that you don't quite understand, then just know that the more that you do it, the easier it becomes. Whether you do it in the closet, first of all, in the shower, in the car, I mean, the car was the best place for me, then just express your light codes. You know, it's like winning the lottery and not going to the shop to get your winnings, you know. Please, please, please just know that these codes are expansive for yourself primarily. It's for you these codes come in for. And then as you then start to peel back those layers, then you can then start to give code to others. And that's where we feel that we want to share the codes. And then if somebody sort of like is resonating with those codes, they can receive the codes. And like you said, there's a lot of people that are expressing the light codes. So we've got to use our discernment to what resonates with you and what doesn't. But the main thing is what I teach an awful lot on my YouTube channel is make sure that when you are listening to the codes, you're not just listening to the codes, you're feeling the codes. Because that gives another level of healing through the transmission of the codex. So you breathe the codes into your system. You literally align the energy heart-to-heart connection without hooking into the system. So I am literally a pure channel expressing the code. And then it's up to somebody else to actually receive the code. If you don't want to receive the code, then you're not going to receive them. If permission isn't granted, then you're just going to see me waving my hands around and looking a bit strange. But if you are aligning to it because the synchronicities have brought you into that energy, then that synchronicity would be that you've got to receive these codes. And like, I feel drawn to this lady. Why do I feel so drawn? It's because there is that resonance and your higher self bringing you in for that connection to receive the codes, to spark you into your own remembrance and inner light wisdom. And so we sort of like have these wonderful little, sort of ways, like if you throw a pebble in the water, it just literally sort of just goes out to everybody else, doesn't it? But everything that we do as healers is healing ourselves. And we present how we do it, whether we channel it through us by higher levels of consciousness, we present it only, but unless that person's willing to actually receive it, you could just be waving your hands around just for your own sake. So we must sort of set our intentions. We must set the intentions. We must be ready, write a passage. Are you ready for this growth or the next level of the phase of your healing journey? And if you are, then you're going to receive. You're going to be listening to this podcast. You're going to be present, not like, I'm not quite resonating with that. And if you're at that point, you're not ready. But if you are, then you are here present to awaken within you. Why are you here? And this is what wonderful conversations like this opens up for people.
And do you find now more and more people are having more of an awareness of what's going on, or waking up, it's not but having much more of awareness that there's more to life, there's more to me, there's more going on that I don't understand, I'm feeling more, I see more, I sense more. Are you getting, because I know you've got a huge following, so with your following, do you find that that's growing and growing now that you've been out there a while, fully being seen and being that channel? Do you find more and more people are listening to you, tuning in, and more of awareness?
No, definitely. There's been a massive shift in the reality of these light language transmissions, and for those that have sort of come onto their path at that stage of where I started, which was about sort of 8 years ago, there was very little transmissions coming in, and people that weren't quite getting it would be very small in number. But now people are actually craving to ignite their own code. That, like, how do I ignite this within me? Because they know that there is something within them that needs to sort of start to ignite. So there is a massive influx of people that are doing the codes, but it's also what it is, which is so important, is to make sure that you're healing yourself first. So as you rise in your vibration, you're just one step ahead of everybody. Okay, it's not that you're going to like shoot off, because you're not going to be embodied. If you're going to shoot off, you're going to just go floaty in the land of fairies, dress up with pixie ears and just like, like some people in Glastonbury that you might see walking around, these wonderful people in their own little world. So we must embody, which is really important. But more and more people are starting to question the narrative of the collective. And so that, to whatever degree it is that you wake up for and to and see within yourself, whether you're a candlestick maker, whether you love sort of scents, or whether it's music, or whether it's pottery, or whatever you're here to create, start creating. Do what floats your boat. Do what brings you joy. So it doesn't matter if you're a light code giver, or whether you step into your authentic self. If you work with children, if whatever it is that you do what brings you joy, because we are creators. And so if you've got light language within your availability as a gift and a talent, then start doing your inner work with it first before you start to open. Because everybody else is doing codes on YouTube or Facebook, doesn't mean to say that you have to right now. Really consolidate within your understanding of what it is that you do, because when we're consciously aware of what these codes can do for people, how they work, the perception of reality as you're moving through time, space, and the quantum field with what is it that you're doing with this. Once you have an understanding, conscious understanding, you go up another level of your gifts and talents, rather than just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. But there has to be a sense of journey between here and here. Just like myself, I started off coding in the car, speaking all this, like, I don't know what I'm doing, don't know what I'm doing, don't know what I'm doing. Then, hang on a minute, this is interesting. Oh, this is interesting. This is so the journey of it allows you start to.
Excuse me, I'm just going to have to do the door a minute.
Okay. So it's all about bringing in your own wisdom and remembering.
I think she's got Mr. Ed's just turned up at the door there, isn't it?
Yeah, the horse might go clock in.
Yeah.
Probably wants to sort of come in and join in the conversation.
Oh, right. Sorry about that. Yeah, carry on.
Yeah. So it's an interesting journey, and I absolutely love it. I wouldn't have it any other way. I see so many people seeking advice within how to. I give so much information away for free on my YouTube channel. Any information that comes in quite new, I'm like, oh, I've got to do a video on that. So check out my channel. And I have a light language course on Udemy, which has helped so many people understand, which is transformative in maybe seeing what blocks you. You know, is there something with a slight fragmentation of your soul that is misaligning you to start to express your light? I have an 8 program, which is just sort of over the years I've built up and now brought into a program. And I've got a playlist on my website that people can look at about how to do that. Is the steps of the journey, is, you know, it's the self-healing, as you see there. So you've got self-healing and breath work, body work, awareness of energy, the data that we hold within us, consciousness, multidimensionality. Step 6 is the soul fragmentation. And then we move into projection, into interpretation of your wisdom, and then going ahead and practicing. So I hold these different programs that have, you know, me as a creator, just creating content for people to sort of see how I've done it. But it's so important that people are empowered on their own journey to do it themselves, their way. You know, it's not like, do it this way or else it's not going to work. You know, I do it my way, you do it your way. Take these glimpses of wisdom that I hold within myself, and maybe it might resonate with you and some things don't. Does it mean to say that my truth is wrong? No, it doesn't. It just means my truth is mine, yours is yours. So, you know, and this beautiful code actually was given to me by a lady that actually did my website. We've been called Desiree Osman, and she's in the Netherlands. And these are codes. If you actually look closely here, that light is all coded. These are all the little squiggles that we might see, and these are all codes. So by literally looking at that code, it would actually give you a download. And when you start to get visions, this golden light elixir that comes into the third eye projection, you start seeing these waves of golden codes come in, and you get these codes that comes in from the sun. So you'll see, if you look out when it's a really bright sunny day, you'll sometimes see these sort of glimmers of sparkles, and all these codes have a meaning, and this ignites your inner light wisdom. So this code is so beautiful, and I was so pleased when she presented this for me, because I said, Desiree, I really need a code to assist people into into the program. So that's the code that she came up with for me, which she's astounding.
Yeah, it's
but
beautiful.
I've worked with her from the very beginning. So I ignited her light language, and then she started coding by her hand, so writing code just on a plain bit of white paper. Then she started then bringing in golden pens and black paper, and now she's doing work like that and coding. So she is wonderful. But
Yes.
all of these gifts and talents are coming online for many, many people on how it is that they are creating, and it's important that we start to really embody that and bring it forward and be authentic with it, but peel those layers of the ego back so the ego can rise into balancing with the higher mind. It's the journey of the human. We're already this beautiful golden light, but it's the ego human self that needs to up level with all that baggage of emotional states or past traumas, whether it's this lifetime or perceived ancestral or past life healing, within the quantum field. So there's a multitude of different sort of levels of understanding of how to ignite your true wisdom. But it's just sort of start very simply, just start with meditation. That's how I did it, just meditation.
Yeah, fabulous. I know, I can't think of the lady's name. Jeff might remember, he might not. I did, it was where they make the ginger. Was that, I'm just trying to think where the markets are.
Bedroom.
Yeah. There was a lady
Monday.
there. Oh? Who?
Bedroom.
Yeah, but
Monday.
yeah, there was a lady, and she was only little like me, and she used to do light language. And I can remember going to a workshop, and there was about 20 of us all sat in circle, and it was all about light language. This was years ago. And she went round to each one, and she channeled light language of that being. And you could hear it wasn't the same sort of tone or vibration. You could hear and feel the difference when she went round to each one. And I was the last in the circle, and she came to me. She was doing all the dolphins squeaking, and she said, "All the dolphins are with you." And, I can't do it, but anyway. Wow. But yeah, I can't, let me think of her name. They used to do with Tom, they used to do the big swords.
Tom Leader.
Yeah, but
Tom
she used
Leader.
to, I can't think of her name. But
But
anyway, so yeah, and she goes all around, and she's in the waters and activating codes, and but it was just so funny because you could hear 20 different light languages. I mean, God knows how many there are. I've got no idea, but each one was unique and different. You could hear it, you could feel it, you could sense it. It was incredible.
Yeah. There's always a sense of a primary light code that is your light code. So my light code is a Pleiadian light code. It's a consciousness that I align to as my primary focus. So my seeding from that space. And then the connection to all of these different levels of consciousness sort of gets downloaded into the system as you start to empty out all of the junk. You start to replace and start to align to all these different levels of consciousness. And they hold a different vibration. Absolutely. You're so right there. And the code that comes forward, some is quite quick. And some is slower, and some are sort of quite high pitched, some is quite singy. So for instance, that yanukuya siakuya na taish and agada in agada getting angora boshangada bishumakreteri shanakiyata. So that is very sort of played in my sort of codex that sort of comes forward. And then you might have an Arcturian, which is fast. It's really sort of data-based information, transformative sort of information downloads is and it's like it's very tongue, and so there's all of these sort of different sort of code sounds that come forward that when you're actually bringing them through, the ego goes, that sounds a bit weird. And I must admit, the Nicola goes, whoa, that's fast. How am I going to get those lips around that code? And if you start singing, the codes that sort of start to come forward. And I'm not a trained singer at all. And when the code started coming through with song, I was like, whoa, this is getting too for the ego. And I was like, what? The high pitched voice is going to come. Can I reach it? So the ego kicks in. It really does. But the more that you do it, the more you feel like, oh, I've done that code before. That feels familiar. And then you sort of get an understanding of the consciousness that you're working with. If it's sort of more like a psychic surgery, it tends to be 3 fingers and very precise, and I have to sit down in a chair because I have to be more like this. Some things are very sort of fluid with the hand movements and all that sort of goes in with aligning the energy through the central column of light and then grounding it down. So it's more physical body movements, which I do an awful lot of reels on, and sort of, with the music that you might see, just do a quick sort of injection that you get the comments from people saying like, oh my God, I had to cry. But it really set me off crying just by a 30-second.
It touches soul, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is. It goes deep inside of yourself. It is so profound.
Yeah. So do you wake up in the morning and then you suddenly got this feeling, how does it happen for you? Like when you wake up, you suddenly, or like throughout the day, think, all right, I got a blah, 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 whatever.
Sometimes it works on 2 different sort of angles, really. Sometimes it comes in as a spontaneous download, which are quite crazy, really. And I have sort of spoken to higher self and look, make sure it's actually a relevant place that I'm actually getting a spontaneous light code. Not driving on the motorway in your car. Please don't download there because you have to pull over. But generally, if I'm at rest, if I'm going off to sleep, or if I'm contemplating in the morning, having a little meditation in the morning, then I might get a download come in. And sometimes also at 3 o'clock in the morning, if higher self wants to, oh, she's laying in bed, she's not doing anything, we got her. And then I get all of a sudden the arms come up underneath the duvet and then start coding, which is quite interesting for my new partner. He's like,
I bet.
he's used to it now. But the hands come up and then I code myself and then I wiggle the energy through and the physical body starts to shake out the data and the toes start to go. So that sort of spontaneous download of information is almost like like a big wave of energy that pushes through me and I just have to express and the body starts to move. So those sort of ones can actually be quite painful for the body as well. But generally in the morning, if I wake up, then I set my intention to ask, is there anything that I need to align to? Have I got calls today? Is there anything that I need to create? And then I stand in the middle of the center of this room and then I make sure I clear my space, that I'm in this cocooned area of this high vibration, that like shut the door, here I am in this beautiful cocoon. And then I would get codes come in and then you might see me sort of start to shift the neck, which adjusts the back of the nape of the neck to allow more consciousness energy to run through my spine, that central column. And then the eyes start to flicker and all this sort of twitching starts to come in. These are all sort of downloads of levels of consciousness start to activate within me. So if you get that, if you're on your journey, then don't worry about it. I teach this a lot of my groups with light language. I call them light and wisdom groups. And we sort of come together and sort of speak about our journey and we might get some channeling coming through and sort of being more aware and being up to date with what it is that we are actually doing here, getting a deeper understanding. Very important. But if we can allow the body to sort of accept and receive the codes, then we can either consciously do it or sometimes just sort of like get a burst of energy that starts to upgrade us.
So is there anything you'd like to bring through today for our listeners, replays or anything? I meant to ask you earlier, so I apologize that I haven't asked you in advance. So, but I know I'm not putting you on the spot. So is there anything for...
Let me align. Okay, so I'm just going to download. You can sort of see with the eyes, I sort of feel like I'm pulling the information down into third eye connection, and then it moves down to the embodied state. So we've got the head unit down to the body. I'm just sort of tapping in and asked. So I'm getting a download of data. So when we use codes, we need to sort of be aware of our breath. So if we feel that we need to release, it might be a breath like this, and the head might start to move. So we want to aim for the physical body to come online with our consciousness connection to our energetic field. So the alignment of the energy field and the physical body, so the body can start to calibrate itself without having to consciously go through that motion. So I'm just getting some code. Thank you. So please accept to receive. Thank you. So these codes are of the purest of light that are filtered through my heart. Thank you. Dalagyan mo kosh makiatan sumakoi antikwa shikiata mand ato okrbak ind shimokosh makiatan takiata shamakiatam. So just know that you are not on your own. Sumayush bayan kaya kai shakiatu shaban karebisimakiatam. So feel the energy into your heart space, please. Take a deep breath in. And just allow yourself to feel yourself in your body. Letting go of everything through time and space that no longer serves you. Dalagyan mo kosh makiata. Madabisyo. Anayasyo. Oh gosh, I've got some singing. Thank you. You guys kicking in. Thank you. So I'm just aware. Thank you. Mama sia. Sia. Baba koya sia koya si. Manama soa koya sia ki shamaki tana darasi koshi kana sumakia o shpakia sha sha derasia koya sia koya a derawisya koya sia kaya mamboko shabaki shana shopaki shamaki tana. So what they're showing me here is a sense of remembrance. So just feel into the energy as well as the code that's coming through the voice. And going inward, inward, inward. Just connect with your breath. Shumakia. Baba Shumagia Darisha Darisha. Mama Shumaya Koye. Sumalao Koya. Sumalokia. Shumalokia Koyesha. Sulayo Koya Angusia. Suayon Goya Tufashi. Manama Solaiwa. Koya Tanashia Koye. Loya Shana Maye. Koya na shoya, koya siya, koya siya, koya sanayam. Dia la shoya yakia, mono haye shoyangya, mono haye shia, koya swayang, koya shiang. Sway haye siya kai, umahea salai hai, monatuya salai wai, koya shi, koma we, hanai siya, kone tu. Haya koya solai wai ono shu koya si kaya no shalaki. So it just feels like water. There's water coming in, just cleansing your energetic field, calming the mind, releasing those emotions of doubt, just clarifying your mind, clearing. Allegiato da bishiamakiatan, tokalabishamakiatonasha, somakioto masumokoshna, dedesian korishamakitena, oshamakitena. Just allow that just to settle within your system. Whether you consciously align to those energies or not, the energy, if you are accepting to receive, will be received. Allegianto da bishimakoshmakitena, ashamakita. That is he.
That was so beautiful. Thank you.
It felt like I needed to have a little bit of a clearing of my energy field before it all came through. So you can sit and judge yourself till the cows come home, can't you, from an ego
Yeah.
But I felt like the codes were coming through almost like sort of clearing a little bit of Nicola out, for then that little second phase was the key point there. Yeah, that was beautiful.
I could feel the emotions there. It's like, yeah, really lovely. Yeah. Thank you for that. That was magic. So,
Very good.
so tell me, when the words come through, then you get it in English to share.
Yeah. It's so beautiful. That sort of came in after a little while, after I started sort of really bringing in different light codes. Different light codes started to come in, and I used to say the same sort of thing but different. And then at the end of saying all of these different light codes, I could speak it in English. So I had an understanding it from a human perspective. It's like a knowing. It's wisdom that rises up within you, that you just know what those codes are all about. If you set your intention in the first place, then the codes will match what it is that you require. But if you have codes come through, then you have an understanding of it, a remembrance of the code. So it has almost like a storyline to it, and it's shown in analogy, in symbolistic sort of format. So if you broke down the codes, you'd probably have an encyclopedia's worth of information, of input. But it comes through in a sense of a vision. So it felt very much water energy, that last phase. It allows us to really align to the water, that frequency. If you bring in frequency to frequency, it's going to balance the energy out. So that's what those codes were doing. So you get an understanding, which is the wisdom of light within. That's what I talk about a lot. So it's like, I don't know how I know, but I just know it type energy,
Yeah. You don't need to know what you know.
Yeah. You just know it. Yeah.
So obviously we're coming to the end. So is there anything else you'd like to share, or obviously you've spoken about your different workshops that are coming up, and obviously people can follow you and listen to your and get in touch with you if they suddenly feel they're starting to
Yeah, I think that's about it really. I've my main focus is presentation on YouTube, which is this is actually going out live onto my YouTube itself, and Facebook. Facebook is one of my main sort of media platforms. I do have a little bit on Instagram, but it's not my biggie thing. I produce an awful lot of live content, well, sort of increasingly live content on Facebook, where I give a lot of wisdom for people to assist them on their own healing journey. And my little shorts and reels that would be sort of seen on Facebook and YouTube and on TikTok, actually. So I've got a little TikTok as well. So if somebody sees me on there, they usually are like, what's going on here? And then they connect with me through those medias and sort of sit with it and then get guided through the journey, whether they want to seek, sort of guidance, whether it's online courses or my playlist, which is that 8 program, or mentoring and healing. And I mainly work with a lot of people that want to tap into the next level of their soul's journey. So more sort of people that are a little bit more established with their understanding and plugging them into high levels of consciousness.
I know what I was going to ask you, because I think I read in your bio that you've written a book. You're an author.
Yes, it's going to be. So I've co-authored with about 10 other ladies, which is about the connection to galactic. So I've written a chapter within that book that's coming out in August, and as a result of that, I'm going to be writing my book, which is about igniting your inner light. It's a handbook, a galactic handbook on how to do that. So there's many channeled pieces of information. So I'm actually writing that manuscript as we speak.
Fabulous.
So I've got to get that done by the 1st of August, and that'll be coming out on the 23rd of September. So that book will be the first of many, I am sure. I've been told. So that's terribly exciting to sort of start on that journey, that creation, you know, to assist people in that type of media. So
fabulous. Yeah. And I know where was it in well, anyway, like there's a barn here where we have a medium evening Deb runs, and I can't remember, and there's one across the road, another farm, and they do it. And there was one of the mediums, I got a message, and one of them was about books that I'm going to write, but also that I'm going to be doing light language. So okay.
There you go.
So I know it's in the queue. I'm just not quite sure. Anyway, maybe I'll speak to you later.
Yeah, no, speak to me later. Yeah, I ignite many people into their remembrance. So
that would be fabulous. So
yeah, it's beautiful when you do.
So what about, have you done any paint, like, you know, you shared that beautiful code, the gold. Have you done any paintings or pictures yourself using light language?
It's interesting, actually. That's what medium of that expression of light code. So there are many different sort of expressions of light code. My main is my hand movements and my voice. Then it goes to voice. But I can light code with my hands, with creating different patterns, and it's normally what I call templatic work, which is sort of I write lots and lots of codes, and then the codes go this way, and then they go this way, and then they go this way, all compounded into a pot. So I did go through a big phase of all of that sort of expression. So I haven't got anything here ready to sort of show, but it's not my thing. So I align with people that do.
Yeah.
So as Desiree, as I spoke about with the 8, she does an awful lot of those types of codes. And Rosa Maria Martinez, I work with her quite a lot. Hopefully she's going to do some codes for me for my book. So I'm going to call in some different light coders that produce more sort of art type codecs that will be able to be put into my book as well. So I want to sort of align some of the codes to come in, as well as the information that's coming through. And some beautiful other souls that I've been working with that are really deepening. So Judy Sweeney in Canada, you know, she's like, wow, she's really sort of coming into her own. And you can see people sort of progressing from the very beginning of not coding at all into truly getting on their path and creating. Just astounding, the work and the quality of work that they're starting to really sort of activate into. So you know, and it's beautiful that, you know, that we walk each other home, you know, we rise together through the journey of it. So yes, it's wonderful. So it'd be lovely to see.
Yeah. And interestingly, like with the energies that are really vibrating higher and higher, and we're all feeling it, and light language now is not like, oh, she's a bit odd. It's like more and more people are aware of light language. They've heard it. So, you know, there's a humongous shift happening on the planet right now. We're right in the middle of it, aren't we?
Massive. I mean, the light codes, the generational light codes are coming in more and more in line. Absolutely. People are becoming more accepting of it. They're seeing it. It's like in the beginning, isn't it? It's like Reiki. Nobody really understood what Reiki was about, energy work. And then all of a sudden, you know, they're allowing it into hospitals.
Yeah.
You know, you've got light codes, which is a next phase of evolution of energy work that comes in from different levels of consciousness. And, you know, if these codes can be expressed through you, if everybody on this planet coded themselves, this world would just transform in a couple of days. You know, your codes are your codes. But until your cup is flowing to then present your codes to others to be a giver of codes, then, you know, those codes are actually your codes.
Well, it's like your soul, your voice print, your soul print, you know, soul tone, whatever. It's unique to you. Nobody can touch it in any way, shape or form, eh?
Yeah. And it's all encrypted. It's the greatest security code that can come through us. Nothing can be distorted when it's filtering through the heart. So it's, you know, it's the only thing that would stop anybody from listening to it or expressing it is fear, because you don't understand with your mind what it means. Until you can step into your heart, then you won't be accepting of it.
And that's it, is even, excuse me, closing your eyes and like going back to the channeling that you've just done, or the light language, is closing your eyes and listening with your heart, not with this, eh?
Yes, perfectly said.
Easier said than done on some days, because some days it's like, you know, I know with the drama I had the other day, data and Wi-Fi and everything, I was so stressed, but I couldn't, I was there up there, not grounded. I was just like, it just got to me too much, throw me totally off course. But anyway, I'm back online now.
Yeah. But it's, you know, when you're going through these, you know, depths of everything, I had that the other day as well. You know, I was like being triggered left, right and center by the most petty thing that I didn't even want to speak about because they were so petty. But we must honor the emotional state. If we try to shove it down into the shoulder or the hip, you know, you're just going to store it in your physical body. So just let it come up, let it be seen, honor it, experience it. That's what we came here to do, is to experience the emotion. Let it rise and energetically lift out of your energetic field. Pop it in the Akashic record as the experience. Tick box. Hey,
don't need that again.
Yeah, it's like, don't store your data in your physical body. Store it in the Akashic record. Send it up to the universe. You know, let it be transmuted into positive energy. And then with that space that you created, just download all that you are. It's very simple. Offload, download, offload, download. Breathe in, breathe out. That's it. You know? That's it.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Oh, excuse me. Well, it's been an absolute delight.
No. It's me and Mel's
Jeffrey,
conversation.
the mere male wants to speak. Well, you said it.
Yeah, that's right. She's coughing now. The when you were talking about the codes, just 2 minutes ago, all of a sudden I was taken to Wiltshire, and I'm looking at them crop circles. And when I was looking at the crop circles, it was almost like I got my finger and I went to the center of the crop circle and I pulled it up. And so it changed into a hexagonal polygram, all the different sacred geometry patterns, which contain the codes. And they're holographic. So you could actually, if you could see that, visualize it, boom, 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 whole new world of dynamics.
Yeah, because everything here is so flat. We perceive reality to be from that flat space. Just like that picture of the 8 program, that actually is this beautiful energy flowing, which actually spirals. But we can only show the version of the 8 program like that flat, because it's a flat bit of paper.
Yeah.
And even if we sort of look at reality, it actually is very flat, but we perceive it to have depth because of our eyes. But when you go inward and into the third eye projection, everything becomes more expansive. So when you go inward and you get those inner visions, then you see the crop circle as it actually is, and not as we perceive it through our 5 senses. Through our eyesight, we only see it as a flat surface on the ground, but it's not. It's more than that. It's a projection of energy that sits up. So beautiful. I love that imagery of that. Thank you for that.
That's all right. Anything else, girls?
No, it's been lovely. I really enjoyed your sharing. Well, I knew you would, so we would. So, it's been an absolute delight. So I look forward to bumping you probably into September when you're over again.
Yeah, definitely. Whether it's in the bakery, whether we're at the tour.
Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, on the 13th of September, doing an event with Adrian Lee, Alexander Quinn, and Matt Bell.
Yeah. I've got that booked in my diary. So,
so that'd be really good. Yeah, I'm doing some singing there actually with Alexander Quinn. He's got his guitar, so I'll be talking about energy work and, you know, sort of clearing your energy, etc., all of that sort of stuff. And then we're going to do a collaboration, which we did a practice around at Shirley's, and oh my God, it was so wonderful. It's just like I went deep in myself and I was coding galore with the guitar. Oh my God, it was stunning. It was absolutely beautiful. It really was really lovely. So I'm excited to sort of bring that to, you know, people in person. It's going to be really, really very interesting to see what comes from that and how people respond to it.
Fabulous.
Yeah. So
I'll see you in September then.
Yeah. We definitely do. We'll connect. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, thank you once again. Like I said, it's been an absolute delight, and I know a lot of people will get a lot from this broadcast today. So thank you. And thank you, everybody, to tuning in to Dream in the New Dream. Same time, same place next week.
Thank you so much.